March and I have much to do in this month, which means that I ought to plan and actually get my shit sorted so that I can actually keep myself on track, because I did quit my job and I will be yeeting myself to the other side of the world in a month. So there is a lot that I need to get done in these 30 days and just track and make sure that I do, because there is a very strict deadline now on this. Primarily use two main formats. I think formats is the only way I'm going with this. One, I do have a bullet journal. I have my very pretty red bullet journal that I have neglected for a while. I, for the most part, did not want to keep it for a while because I have this thing in my head that if I'm using it for something I don't really care about, then I am wasting the book essentially. But this month I am doing things that I care about, so I will not technically be wasting it, and plus I do want to finish this notebook. So I have my trusty bullet journal. This is my go-to for everything I plan. Along with that, I do have a Notion layout. I primarily use it for content creation and just keeping a track of every single thing I do in that one place. So it is my digital bullet journal, to say the least. There is another format I use, which is technically this whole madness where I just draw out the month and just use sticky notes. But this has also been neglected in the past month solely because I got a little too occupied with working, so it just got neglected somewhere along the way. But this will be set up maybe another day when I struggle and I probably think that this is not enough visualization for me. But for now, we are sticking to the bullet journal and Notion, and let's hope that I actually stick to them this time. So for my bullet journal, I keep it very simple. I just use regular pencil and pen and a ruler with a couple markers in between just to highlight stuff. So for March, I'm just sticking to a very plain black and white situation. Like I said, I like to keep my bullet journal practical and functional and just easy for me to do on a daily basis, because I actually do like drawing out certain parts of my bullet journal every day. It's kind of meditative and it hardly takes 5 minutes, so it's pretty easy for me to do every morning. For my first page for March, I'm just sticking to a calendar view, and you're going to see that obviously I misjudged how much space I need for the entire calendar view, so I just moved it on to the next page as well, and it ended up becoming a 2-page situation where I have my calendar and my goals. It looks like it was a happy accident, honestly, because now I can see what goals are coinciding with what important dates and where I want to place them and how I want to tackle them, so it worked out well in the end. I'm gonna keep going back through my journal throughout because it has been a while since I've done a proper bullet journal spread, proper in air quotations. It has been a while for me. I've just been sticking to the plain black spiral bound book where I just keep a to-do list on one side and a time block on the other side, and I just went and did that for every single day instead. I really didn't have a setup, but it is nice to be setting up a bullet journal this time and following it. It has been a couple of days since I have made the spread, and I have found that since March started, I've actually stuck to it. So it's worked out well, but I think I'm going to have to check in on that by the end of this month. So this month I actually have quite a few goals that I'm setting for myself. Because there's a lot happening for me this month and the next month, it's kind of important that I just find a way to track it and keep myself on the straight and narrow path of achieving those goals, because I do tend to struggle with actually following through with tasks I've set out for myself. So this is kind of helping me to get there. It's kind of it's really cool that I'm gonna have a lot of new things happening for me this month and especially in the next month because I will be leaving the country I'm currently in and moving to another country, which is very exciting and there's going to be so many new beginnings for me. But because I am moving this month is going to be a chaotic mess for the sole reason that many things are ending for me and I have to put my entire life into two suitcases and leave a lot of things that I currently know. But regardless, I'm still excited, so hence why we are actually putting together a bujo or bullet journal. I did not like saying bujo, so bullet journal it is. And just setting some goals. Yeah, these are goals, but honestly, more than goals, they are mandatory tasks because if I don't do them, I'm royally screwed. So, whatever goals, mandatory tasks that I've set out for myself for this month, this will just help me stay on track. Something new that I'm probably going to be adding to my bullet journal spread this time, which I haven't done at all in all the times that I've made a bullet journal or set it up, is actually add a project list because I do have many things going on for me right now and different hobbies as well. So for me, it's really important that I set out which projects that I need to start, which ones that I need to finish off, and give each project a date so that I work towards it because a lot of things need to get over and done with this month so that I can just organize my life accordingly. So, as I'm making my project list, I'm also setting out my goals for this month because they're kind of dependent on each other. So, it's just really important that I put them out as such so that it's just organized in my head and on paper as well. Now, of course, because I had the very big brain move of thinking that I was in I don't know how I did, but I thought that I was in camera when I was doing it, but obviously, as we can see, I am most definitely not in camera as I am writing those goals down. But some of the goals that I am going for this month are packing all of my stuff for my move. I want to try and put out at least 4 to 5 videos in this month. And of course, alongside that, maybe create a few more, but that I haven't put as a goal yet. I also want to be more consistent on social media, like engaging better, creating more, and overall just being more present because I now have the time to do that. Along with that, I also want to read 4 books this month. I have severely neglected reading in general, like actually sitting down physically with a book and reading, not just whatever I go through on my phone or on my laptop. So that is a goal that I've set out for myself. And of course, there is one project that I have been working on for quite some time, but unfortunately, it's just been getting delayed at any chance possible, and that is just finishing embroidering a sari. I will probably be putting a video out on that soon, so I'm not going to explain much on that right now. But yeah, other than these, obviously, I do have these smaller goals and tasks of achieving and finishing a lot of projects that I've set out for myself. In fact, as I record this, I actually came up with like 3 to 4 more things that I want to get done this month, because I'm really trying to optimize the free time that I have suddenly found myself with and that I have been looking forward to, and I really want to make the most of it in the most feasible way possible. For my project list, I have just kept 3 columns: to start, in progress, and to finish. I'm not exactly sure why I added a to finish one. I guess the logic at the time that I did it was list out all the subjects. I guess at the time my logic was list out all of the projects that I want to start, all the projects that are in progress, and all the projects that I have to finish in the month. But honestly, I feel I should have just stuck to start and to finish, because those are the ones that I would use. Now, other than having a project list as such, I am keeping a habit tracker. I am not a person who ever kept a habit tracker, if I'm going to be honest. I never saw the point in it, and honestly, I think that shows that I'm pretty sucky at keeping habits, because I didn't see the point of it at all. But one of the other things I want to do for myself this month, and before I start just living my adult life, is keeping a couple of habits, healthy habits, in mind and trying to just develop them and keep track of them. Again, very simple layout. There's no pretty circle designs and flourishes and flowers to accompany the habit tracker. I'm literally just using the dots in my notebook and making cubes, and I'm just going to put X's if it's done and circles if I haven't done it, because I do not wish to make such a extravagant habit tracker for something that I'm just going to tick off at the end of the day. And I also do not possess the artistic abilities to do it as well, which is actually the main reason. The habits that I have for this month is one, working out. I used to work out quite a lot, or not a lot, a fair amount. I used to work out a fair amount. Around January and February, I kind of just forgot that it was a thing, solely because I was honestly just too tired and I had zero motivation. And of course, I had been just burnt out in general to care about working out, even though it was something that made me very happy. Along with that, I'm trying to stick to waking up early at 6:30 in the morning. I normally do that. The past couple of days have been weird. I've been struggling with waking up at 6:37 in the morning, but we're trying. We're going for it. I also want to track how much I'm reading in a day, so at least reading 10 pages in a day. It's a very achievable goal for me. We also have working on a small side project that I have working with my friend, and of course working on my own channel and pages and really cementing them this month. So I definitely wanted to make all of these a habit for myself. Now, of course, I am going back and checking how I would lay out a financial tracker. I like keeping a track of my finances in the month and seeing where things are going and coming from, and overall having it written down and cemented into one place more than it being digital. I don't know why, but seeing all of that information digitally versus on paper is very different for me. It doesn't really register as much when I see it on my phone or my laptop, but when I physically write it down, go through things and have to calculate it myself, it kind of actually registers in my brain where things are going and where they're coming from. It's a very simple one because I didn't like the use of like financial terms would be the best, like debit and credit and stuff like that. So I went the very easy and adult way of naming my expenses as obviously the title of the expense, what I spend it on, and in and out and balance. I really get confused between debit and credit, so I just went with money coming in and money going out, and we're just sticking with that for now. Now that was a pretty easy layout for me. It was honestly just columns and just naming them. My weekly spread is a one-page spread, first of all, and it's inspired by this planner company that I recently saw on Instagram called the Odd Giraffe. Yes. And this is part of one of their planners, and it's basically just having 3 top priorities in the week, which is very helpful and keeps a person on track. But other than that, I liked how they laid it out. This isn't exactly how they lay it out. I'd have added a few things of my own and removed some things that they had in theirs. So in my case, I have added obviously the top priorities of the week, the 3 main boxes. But in my case, I've added a weekly to-do section, which is just regular tasks that I just need to make sure that they're done within the week. I've also added an important dates section, so this is just another place to keep me on track of when I need to get things done, when are things due, and in general, just another way to keep myself disciplined and on the straight and narrow path of achieving things I've set out for myself this month. I've also added a notes section, which initially I wouldn't think I needed, but honestly it has been a necessity where I just note down random thoughts that come to mind in the week. Maybe it's a task, maybe it's just an idea, but at least now I have one place where I can just keep on going and checking for the passing thoughts that come to mind, and I can just dump them there. So the way I make my dailies has actually been the biggest change over time. Initially, I actually started my bullet journal because I was in my final year of college and I had started working part-time alongside that, and I wanted to balance my hobbies and everything with it. So the way I would structure my bullet journal was, at least the daily section of my bullet journal was one side just keeping the times, one side just a to-do list, and that was it. Of course, I would then highlight, I would add a lot more other subsections, and at the time it worked really well for me. And in recent times, I kind of gave up on the bullet journal concept. I found it too time consuming, too much work for me, and I had just kept it to whichever random notebook I had on hand, and it would just be one whole page instead of half a page as before. So this is around the time that I started working full time, and I made it one whole page solely dedicated to just time blocking on one end and to-dos on the other, with a small section for key meetings in the day that I need to keep track of, which worked great when I was working full time, and I kind of sidetracked all the other things happening in my life. But now, of course, I'm no longer working full time, so It's going to be time blocking on one side, alongside right underneath like the date and the day. And on the other side, instead of having just a basic to-do list, I'm actually dividing it into 3 sections of priority, important, and additional. Priority obviously being the things that have to get done within the day. Important is things that ideally should get done in the day, but it's all right if it doesn't. And obviously, additional is just if I get the time, just go for it and get it over and done with instead of doing it for another day. I found that the structure is actually keeping me on track and wiring my brain to just function in that way. So that was my bullet journal setup for the month of March for this year. It is as simple as I can make it, as minimalist as I can make it, because I cannot be doing all the artsy flourishes to it just yet. I do not have the artistic capabilities. But yeah, that's it for me. I did want to show you my Notion setup, but this video is already quite long enough, so I am not going to do that. If you do want to see my Notion setup, do let me know in the comments. I had quite a bit of fun making this video. It's quite different to what I normally make, so do let me know if you would like to see another video along these lines. Just let me know in the comments. And other than that, thank you so much for watching this video, and do all the YouTubey things of following, liking, sharing, and all that jazz. And I shall see you next week with another video.